Uncorked, where the goal is to uncork your creativity and get you on your way to that project you've been putting off. A novel, a painting. We're going to start out with the novels. My name is Sherry Winston, and if you are new here, welcome. If you are returning, thank you so much. I look forward to teaching you and to guiding you in the next year on your journey to becoming an author and perhaps even a published author. I have published, 15 novels. I have 15 novels. The 15th is coming out in a few weeks. We'll talk about her later. But I love writing. It's that thing that I always wanted to do ever since I was a kid, and that desire never left me. I know a lot of people feel the same way. So if that's you and you've been putting it off, put it off no longer. Come on over. I'm going to give you some advice to tackle the dreaded blank page. First of all, I want to tell you what I plan to do. My journey is that, as I said, I've published, I have about 15 novels for middle grade and younger kids that have published. And several have won national awards. I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of the work that I've done. But I've always, since I was 7, when I tried to write my first murder mystery, I've wanted to write a mystery romance, or a romance mystery, however you want to look at it. And so I finally committed that this is the year I'm going to do it. I have one book coming out. As I said, I have this book coming out January 20th, and we'll talk about that in a moment. I have 2 books coming out in 2027. I don't know what months yet. I'm working on the revisions. Just finished the revision for one, working on the revision for the other. So as you can see, I've had my hands full, but through that all, I've had some ideas. I'm building up this motivation, and I keep saying, if not now, when? If you're not going to try it now, then when? So it's now. And when I get, in that mood that, okay, this is going to be the time. This is when I'm going to work on my adult novel. There is one author whose work I turn to, and that is Janet Evanovich. Now, I don't know if you've heard of her, but Janet Evanovich, she writes a lot of different things. She, and I think at this point, her daughter, she's maybe got 1 or 2 daughters who write with her, different things. She writes a lot of romance, mystery, action, adventure. She's all over the place, but she has a very long and prolific career. The novel that I turn to of hers is the first in her prolific Stephanie Plum series, and it is One for the Money. Stephanie Plum is the main character, and she is a down on her luck young woman who has lost her job, who has lost her car. Her car has been repoed, and she's desperate for work and money. So she turns to her scurrilous cousin, Vinny, and basically blackmails him into giving her a job. And she becomes a bounty hunter, returning people to court who have skipped out on their court date. They call them skips, or failure to appear. So that is a constant theme in the book. And Stephanie is not good at her job. She is actually quite bad at it, but she is tenacious. And what she can't do with skill, she does with dumb luck and determination. And I like that. And I think that's a metaphor for all of us. Some of you guys who want to write the novel, you might think of yourselves as would-be authors. I've had this desire since at the same time that I wanted to be an author, I also wanted to be an illustrator. So I consider myself a would-be illustrator. But the truth is, if you illustrate, you're an illustrator. Whether you sell a picture or not, if you practice the craft, if you do it consistently, you are that person. It just means that you have to take the next step in order to get your work noticed and get your work out there. And in order to get your work out there, you have to produce. The same thing goes for writing. I know that I am not a well-known illustrator or artist because most of my work is in here. I know what I want to do. I haven't actually done it. The same goes for a lot of you. You've talked about that novel, you've talked it over with your mom, your in-laws, your stepkids, people on the bus, and it's a good idea. It might even be a great idea. But until you put it on paper or on the digital screen, it's a wasted idea. So stop wasting your ideas. Come on. Let's get that written. So what I love about One for the Money and Stephanie Plum and Janet Evanovich is that Evanovich is a master world builder. Stephanie comes from, I believe it is a make-believe suburb of in Jersey called the Chambersburg section. And she brings it to life so much that, I've looked for it, and I'm pretty sure Wikipedia told me it's not real. But, she makes the whole Jersey girl, the attitude, the lot of mascara, the hair in the ponytail, slicked back, ready to fight if she needs to. That's Stephanie. And Evanovich, she really does an excellent job of making me feel not like Stephanie is a realistic character on the page, but like she is a real person in the community. So I find that to be brilliant. And when I first started reading Evanovich, she had been suggested to me by a coworker way back in the early 90s. And she thought that my sense of humor and my smart aleckiness, she thought that I would like these books. And I didn't just like them, I loved them. I consumed them year after year. And then I got to the point where I learned to listen to the audiobooks or read them. I do have a lot of them on in my Kindle app, but I learned to consume them for what they could teach me as an author. And that's what I want you guys to start to do. If you're here, you're probably already a lifelong reader, someone who loves a particular kind of books, and you've read a lot over the years, and that's great. But now I want you to start learning how to read like a writer. And we'll get more into that later. That's not the important thing right now. What's important right now is for you to know why I like Stephanie Plum, because we're going to talk about that later. Another thing that Evanovich does that's really, really great is she creates these screwball slapstick situations that you just are like, was this woman high when she made this? I mean, is she, on the happy week? I don't know. Maybe she's just high on life. I don't know Janet like that. I don't know. Maybe she's just high on life. But whatever it is, she does that very well. And then the final part, aside from the world building, is just the incredible characters. Not just Stephanie, but all of the people around her. Connie, the office manager, with her Betty Boop build and her barely there 5 o'clock shadow mustache. The would-be love interest, Joe Morelli, who is a Jersey cop with a nice ass, a nice behind, and a lot of swagger. And this doesn't happen until the next book. But the hooker that Stephanie meets on the street, and Lula,
you gotta bring her a snack. A snack. I'm hungry.
Who later in the series becomes plays a bigger and bigger role, and just her moxie and attitude and the way that she's described. Just all of these people. Like I said, I started reading this series, 2-3 decades ago. And I still remember all of these names like they are people in my family. So I want you to think about what you like to read, what you love spending time with. And then I want you to open up a blank page on the screen, sit there, and with the purpose of working on your very first, getting your novel out, and ask yourself, what am I doing? I want you to feel comfortable messing up this page. This is something I used to do as a reporter for the Sun Sentinel down in Fort Lauderdale. I'd go on these different interviews. I had some amazing opportunities as a journalist when I was there. And then I would come back and I would, in order to break out of that mindset that the first sentence on the screen had to be gold, I would, above my byline, I would put all these questions. What's the story about? Why? A thing in journalism that I think to a lesser degree is important in certain types of fiction is, why is this story important now? What is the urgency? So ask yourself, what am I doing? I'm writing a novel about so-and-so. Well, why are you writing this novel about so-and-so? Well, I wanted it to be XYZ. And then you just start answering questions, answering those questions until you can't think of any more answers. Don't worry about grammar, length, style, the title. Baby, don't worry about no title. You don't need to worry about a title. What you need is to start. And that's what I want to help you do. I want to encourage you to start, and start now. Take this time, whether you only have 15 minutes, 30 minutes, maybe you can squeeze out a whole hour. Do what you can this week and come on back next week and let's talk about it. I hope that I've encouraged you to at least take the first step. Ask the question, what am I doing? Who are these characters? And I'll explain to you in depth next week why and how those things are important, but they are vitally important. And I want you to know that. Now, in other exciting news, this is my latest book. It's called Destiny of the Diamond Princess. I always have to check. Destiny of the Diamond Princess will be released on January 20th. And I want you all to go out and embrace it, to love it like I do. This is the story of Zamar Grace, and Zahara Grace, who has had her 11th birthday. And upon getting her birthday, one of the gifts is a DNA test. She is adopted. She's happy. She loves her mom and her grandpa, but she always wanted to know about her African mother. Thank you all for hanging out with me again, and thank you for listening. I hope I see you again next week, and I will talk to you about some of the questions I ask for beginning my romance mystery. Until then, bye-bye.